Hey everyone, it's AJ and we are out and about, and this one is going to be wild because we are going to be with paranormal investigator Greg King. He is going to be here at our CIMAC Center and across the street at the library, and he is going to tell us what it is like to be a paranormal investigator. So are you ready for this? I'm not sure I am, but let's go inside. So as promised, here we are. I am with Lakeview Paranormal, and Greg King is the team leader. And I guess the first question I'm going to ask you is, who did you bring with you? We've never had a big group to interview before, so I'm really excited. So please, tell me who else is with us.
Sure. So to my right is Veronica. She's been on the team for probably about 6 or 7 years now. We have Mary Ann. She's our newest member of the team. Behind me is John, and next to him is Melissa. And then we have Liz at the very end. And we have another 7th member, David. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, but he's here in spirit.
In spirit.
Hopefully not, because he wasn't feeling very well.
We're hoping it's not like that.
Yeah.
So my first question then, I guess, comes to be how does somebody get involved in this organization? How do you decide to do something like this?
Well, when I first started, how I got into the paranormal was, my parents always watched the X-Files. And that really introduced me to a world that I never knew anything about. And it really captivated me, and I wanted to learn more about it. And I know they investigate cryptozoology like Bigfoot, they investigate aliens with the show's premises, but they also do the paranormal and supernatural, and that's what really intrigued me. And it wasn't until I was 7 where I actually had my first full-bodied apparition experience. That really, it scared me because I was 7, but again, I was very interested and I really wanted to know why I was seeing what I was seeing. And so time went on, and I was dating a girl at the time, and her brother was really into the paranormal, and he and I just kind of formed a team together. It was just the two of us at first. And he was really kind of the techie guy, and I was just really had the passion and motivation to actually explore the supernatural. And we just kind of formed the team. His wife ended up coming up with the name Lakeview Paranormal, and it kind of stuck for 10 years now. And it's been going strong ever since. And the team kind of grew naturally, really. Melissa knew my mother, and I think my mom had business cards of mine or something, and she commented on them, and that's kind of how Melissa came to it. And her husband John ended up wondering where his wife was going on Saturday night.
Where are you going? What are you doing?
I'm just like I was checking up on him.
So
She said
Ghost
she was
hunting.
going to ride.
That's original.
yeah, so he became part of the team, and it just kind of grew.
And then Dave and Veronica, we all worked together, and Dave was really interested, and so we took him on a few ghost hunts with us, and we actually asked him if he wanted to join at Hillview Manor. What was that, about 5 years ago? Yeah, somewhere around there. And then Veronica followed. She went with us on numerous ghost hunts, and we're like, man, she's amazing. Yeah, she's amazing.
She's a natural.
Yeah, so we were just, go. She's all gung-ho for it.
So now you said that when you got together, the other person was a tech person. So there's actual equipment and things that you need to know or be able to do. What are some of the things that the equipment, what purpose does it serve, I guess?
Well, as a team, we investigate scientifically. We want to catch it on video, we want to catch it on audio. In order to do that, you need camcorders, you need audio recorders. Very simple. You can have the most basic equipment such as a cell phone and be able to do an EVP session, which is an electronic voice phenomena session. And those are voices that you can't hear with the human ear. You're catching it on audio devices that have a higher frequency that can pick up those kinds of voices and sounds. But yeah, we have camcorders, we have digital recorders, we have.
It didn't start out like that though.
No, and actually it's funny that you mentioned that, because I have a picture of what this is right when we first started investigating as a team. I have a setup right over here on this wall, and it just has a case and my laptop and maybe one digital recorder, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I have the side-by-side of what it grew into, and all the DVR systems, and all the handhelds, and the digital recorders, and the EMF detectors, the ring pods, the EM pumps. There's just a lot of equipment that goes into this. However, you can have all the fancy equipment, but the best tool that you're going to use during an investigation is yourself. You want to use your five senses, your perception, your intuition. Those are the things that you really want to kind of do a base read in any investigation. And once you feel those hairs on your arm stand up, or the chills that you get when you walk into the room, those are physical things that are telling your body that there's a reaction going on in here. There's something in here, and that's when you really want to start doing EVP sessions and start recording and doing KT.
Those are the things you want to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I'm very sensitive to the electromagnetic energy. We walked into Hillview Manor and there was no power, and I felt like I was going to have I was having an anxiety attack. And I'm one of those that if I go to an electrical box, I feel that, and I have to leave the room because I can't breathe, and I start getting dizzy, and just like a regular panic attack. And I didn't know that until I started doing this. And so when we walked into Hillview Manor and there was no electricity and I felt that, I'm like, okay, we got something going on here.
We're going to be busy tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be busy. But, so those are the things that we pay attention to.
Yeah, you can really walk into a place and just get that feeling that it's going to be a active night.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can walk into a room and feel a certain way, and then you come back later into that same room, and it just feels like the air got sucked out of the room. It's just tight. There's just something different in the environment that you pick up.
That happened here in the across the street in the kids' room. It happened here, and we all felt it.
It's going to be an interesting night.
Yeah. So
what is it that you go when you go to visit these different places? What is your objective to just reach to the other side to find out?
It's not so much our objective as it is the owner's objective. Are you scared? Do you want us to try to get rid of it? Do you just want to know who it is? That's more for a personal residence and some things like that. But it just all depends on what they want.
Yeah, for private residents, we really want them to be comfortable living in the homes that they do.
Yeah.
We do private residences, but we also investigate abandoned buildings, hospitals, prisons. And yeah, just as long as they're comfortable living or wanting to know the answers and to the questions that they want, and that's why they call us in. This is their home now, and whatever information they want, we're going to provide for them the best we can.
When it comes to the more like the prisons and things like that, we are, like Greg said earlier, we're looking for that scientific evidence. If we hear a noise that's not normal per se, and before we go into any place, we sit there, we do walk around, we listen for the normal noises, and then we pull things out that are not normal. So when we hear these things, we try to debunk them. Yeah, we try to debunk them. We try to reproduce them. And if we can't reproduce them and we can't debunk them, then, we will sit there and go, can you do that again?
As far as personal objectives, I think my position kind of transitioned a little bit. At first, when I started the team, I said, I told myself, I'm going to show the world that these things are real. I'm going to show proof, and make people believers. But as I did it, I already knew, like I said, when I was 7, I knew what I saw. So I already was a believer, and I didn't really need to prove it to anybody else. So every time we investigate and I capture a piece of evidence, that's just reassuring me that what I experienced when I was 7 was the real thing. So it wasn't even about proving to everybody that these things are out there. I knew it, so I just wanted to keep proving it to myself and, just making sure that what I saw was authentic.
And after doing it for a while too, we've learned, especially from watching things on TV, evidence that supposed evidence that people have given us, like pictures and things like that. We've learned over the years that I can't tell you if that's real or not. I can give you my opinion on it. We're not experts. There's nobody that's a professional. There's nobody that's an expert. We have our own beliefs. We have seen what we've seen. We can't deny that. But in order for me to look at a picture or listen to something, and I can't give you an answer on that because I need to be there. I need to know what was happening in the surroundings. I can't just say, oh yeah, that's paranormal. Yeah.
I have a hard time watching those shows because
I don't
that's how
watch
it is
them.
with me, because I have a hard time believing it, because one, it's a Hollywood kind of thing and they can just making up stuff. Just like everybody else. I have to see it. I have to physically see it myself. I have to experience myself in order to believe it.
And he is, he's actually the skeptic of the group.
I mean, when I started off, I was there's nothing to it. I'm going to
anymore.
debunk everything. And then I come across some things that made me stop and think. They're like cabinet doors opening that there's no way that they could have opened on their own. You know, I've seen that happen. I've got tapping on the ear. You know,
That actually scared him.
Yeah, that one drove me out of the basement. Yeah, because that was actually a very personal experience, and it's like I'd never had that happen before. But there are some things that I don't want to say I'm a hardcore skeptic now, but there are some things that make me wonder how it happened.
And that's the thing, there are so many skeptics out there. That's the biggest challenge that we face as investigators, is the controversy that surrounds the field.
Yeah.
This is probably the most controversial field you're ever going to research because, you know, we can provide evidence and we can show it, and we know as a team that what we're showing is real.
Right.
There's always going to be other people that are just going to discount it and
Yeah.
we call it fabricated, you know.
And unfortunately, that does come from the Hollywood version of it, you know, where you have the Southern Hunter Hillbilly brothers go and investigate in the swamp, you know, stupid shows like that, you know, or shows that go and do local places that we've been to hundreds of times, and we know that it's fake.
Yeah.
We know that you just faked it.
Right.
You know, and, you know, so that's what hurts us.
If they actually made a show, I mean, they actually did a real show on how this actually goes down and works and all that, it'd be a very boring show. It really would be, because what we do is tedious and it takes time. You're spending anywhere about 8 hours between setup and doing the actual investigation to maybe get 5 minutes of something.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like when you watch these television shows, that's what gets me. And you know, when you watch these shows, it's just like bam, 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 bam. I've never experienced a bam, 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 bam. Okay, I've experienced maybe 3 or 4 paranormal things happening at an event in the night. You know, but these shows, it's just like it's too much for me to take in. It's just like if people actually watch and see how we actually did things, it would be boring.
And it isn't always going to happen in the same place every time
No.
you go back. They don't work on command.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
if they're there that night, they're there. You get lucky, you might catch something. But it isn't always.
And that's why we try to have a personal connection with whatever location that we're investigating. We want it to be personal. We want to be welcome there.
Right.
And if they're comfortable with us being there and we're comfortable with them being there, we're all going to feed off each other.
Right.
They're going to produce for us, and we're going to show them the same respect.
And that's one thing that I gotta say that we do is we don't go and antagonize. You know. And we've had nights where we've gone in and we've been very successful. And then maybe a month or two later, we may go back to the same place and we get absolutely nothing, which falls back on what Veronica was saying. There's sometimes you get, and sometimes
You can't.
There's just times where they just don't want to
It's
talk to you.
unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to remember that these are human beings too, just like us, and deserve to be treated with respect. And too many do not. And that aggravates me when I hear that and see that, because
Yeah, and that
Why would
hurts
you
the
do
field.
that?
That hurts the
Right.
teams that actually take
That's
these.
not
You know, they try to make it seem like it's always demonic or evil, and it's not. It's not. We've come across places where it's actually very beautiful, you know, and they're very nice and they're very sweet, you know. But these shows, they want to make it seems like in order to get the public's eye, you know, it's got to be that horror film.
Yeah, it's
you
got
know.
to be poultry.
Yeah.
guys.
Right, exactly.
Now, The
Not saying-
Conjuring-
not saying that we haven't experienced. we've had at least one experience where it was bad.
I won't go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. I mean, so,
I won't go back.
But you know, we're trying to go back.
So now was that the one where you said you left the basement?
No.
Okay.
That was actually an
That
extra
was my this was before I even joined the team. I went as a guest.
Wow.
No,
Yeah, that was a
So
Different night.
what has been your scariest sort of? Was there ever a time where you kind of thought, oh, maybe I'm in too deep here?
It's almost a loaded question because so many places are unique. You know, they have their own significance. Fear, scared, probably Hillview Manor. And the only reason why I say that is because it's such a large place and they have long, dark hallways. And I personally like to, and John does the same thing, we'd like to go off and explore on our own, by ourselves. My theory kind of behind that is we're all composed of energy. So when you're walking down a dark hallway and you're all alone, you're going to be a little more uncomfortable than you would if you had a buddy with you.
Right.
Okay? And the further you go down this hallway, the darker it gets, the more scared you're going to be. And the more that fear emits out of you as in terms of energy. And that's just more energy for whatever's down there to feed off of and manifest. So I use it almost as a tool for me. So the more scared I am, in my mind, the better odds I have picking up evidence.
And I can tell you, I'm the chicken, but I've gotten better. I've actually gotten better to the point to where it's just like I'm just gonna go. There are certain places that I won't do that. Hillview is one of them. Prospect Place. This is the first time that at Prospect Place
that was the bad one.
That was the bad one.
That was the bad one.
I didn't know why. Something hit me, and I didn't know why. And a former investigator and I were walking into the barn outside, and I just started crying and sobbing. I don't want to go in there. I don't know why. I don't want to go in there. And we got in there. We weren't even in there 5 minutes, and we were out. And then it just escalated from there.
And that's why half of us actually want to return to this place. So when we investigated, I picture us as detectives. Okay? We're investigating the crime scene. And every time that we go into a location and we pick up evidence, well, those are just clues to a much bigger story. You know, 'cause we want to answer the who, what, when, where, why. That's why I'm always promoting. Let's return back to this location. Let's pick up more evidence. Let's see what else we can capture, because those are just little pieces of a puzzle that's going to create this giant picture and this big story. So I don't think our jobs as investigators.
Sorry about that. That's my grandson.
Until this whole picture of every investigation and every location that we go to is told.
I have agreed to go back.
It's a questionable spot. I mean, the circumstances of what happened and all that stuff. We need to double check on it because the evidence that we got from it and then what we were told about it and how do we want to go into it?
If you want to view it, it's all on our YouTube pages.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to get those links in just a minute.
Yeah.
So, but definitely there are some interesting things to check out on their YouTube page, including some footage from the library.
Yes.
Yes.
Some good footage.
Oh yeah.
Some good footage, but don't be scared. It's still okay to come to the library.
No. This place is wonderful.
Yeah, let's think about it.
No.
So we're actually, I think now is a good time maybe to take a look at some of your equipment, what you do to gather this evidence, the things that you're looking at. So we are going to head across the street to the library. We're going to check out some of this technical stuff that Greg and his team have been talking about, and then we're going to maybe see if there's anybody else hanging out over the library.
Gadgets and gizmos.
So tell me about the stuff.
Okay, so we'll just start with the biggest one. So this is one of our DVR systems. Now this is an 8-channel DVR system. We actually have 2 of them, and it actually helps in this case because we're doing 2 locations. So we could set one up here, set another one up over there. I think it's easier to do 4 cameras on these just because it's easier to see. If somebody's sitting here, it's easier to see what goes on in 4 cameras as opposed to 8 cameras. But they're all night vision. They're all 1080 or actually 3 megapixels, so they're higher resolution than 1080. So we have awesome cameras for this. These are my handhelds. These are both Sony handhelds. I have equipped external microphones to pick up any audio. We'll get to that in a second. These are external IR lights, so this just helps us see a lot brighter in the dark, kind of like what this is. See, all the lights are off. It'll look like black and white, basically. This here is an EM pump. This is an electromagnetic pump, so this actually emits electromagnetic energy. So this helps us to pick up any audio, any movement, just a lot of energy or electromagnetic energy for anything to manifest from. This here is a Mel meter. Mel, do you want to talk about the Mel meter?
Sure. So the Mel meter is basically what this is a souped up K2 meter. So what we like to do with these is that in any location, before we go and investigate anything, we start with these. We sweep to see if there's any electromagnetic energy in, like, say, we will, like in the basement, we actually did this in the basement over there. We went to the electrical box, we stood there, we got a reading right up to it, and then we backed up until it hit 0. That's where we knew that was our safe zone, was that far back. So if we felt something or heard something at that point or back farther, then we would look into it. There's things called fear cages. So if you have like a small room that has a lot of electrical in it, things like that, it can actually create a fear cage. And that is where I would be more susceptible to that, because I would start getting paranoid from all the electromagnetic energy in the air that's trapped in that room. It could be monitors, it could be a lot of, like all these computers right here, if they were in
boxes.
Electrical boxes. If all of that was all in one room, that would be considered a fear cage. I wouldn't be able to sit in there. The EM pump right now, the second I turned that on, it instantly gave me a headache. So, and we'll turn that off here in a little bit. But this Mel meter not only measures the electromagnetic energy, it also measures temperature. So if I'm standing here right now, it's 71.5 degrees. If I start feeling chills, hair standing up, and I'm watching this and the temperature slowly dropping, then we will look into that. We will see, okay, is there a breeze? You know, we try to debunk it before we call it paranormal. So, and then that's when, like, we'll break out the K2 meter and bring it over to see if we get any readings off of that. And that's, K2 meter is just lights. That's all it is.
Normally this is, I mean, a lot of electricians use these to find hot spots in houses and hot wires and things. So basically what it has here is it's got 5 lights here, and it goes from yellow, green, yellowish green, orange, and red. Red is hot. Red is like off the charts. You go to an electrical box, you put this up there, it'll go to the red. So sometimes,
on that one.
yeah, sometimes we'll set it up like this, usually, or we'll lean up there like that, and then we'll ask questions and we'll detect responses based on the colors. So we'll ask, hey, if anybody's here with us, can you light it up to green? And hopefully it'll light up to green. We do a lot of yes and no questions to these because, I mean, basically it's either going to light up or it's not. They're pretty simple. But I've had a lot of good experiences on that at Hillview Manor in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, which we're going to in September.
Yeah. And Hotel Conneaut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy here, he's fun. This is called a RIM pod. And basically there's nothing to it. There's just an antenna and it's got 4 lights here. It's kind of hard to, like, well,
There you go.
yeah. So basically the concept is this: is if somebody or something walks up to it and touches it, it's gonna make these lights go. So the closer you get to it, the more the lights are gonna go and the higher the pitch is. So we like to do that to annoy people. I've had a lot of good experiences with this at Madison Seminary in Madison, Ohio, which we've been to.
I don't know how
Amount
many
of
times.
fingers.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. This here is an SP7 Spirit box. This is basically just an AM/FM radio, and it's modified to scan every single AM and FM station at a quarter second at a time. So if we ask a question and we happen to get a word or a phrase, well, that phrase or word is coming off of several different channels simultaneously.
And we play it in reverse.
Yeah, we also play in reverse too. This here is just an external speaker. It's just easier to hear this, the spirit box.
We have a lot of success with that at Madison Seminary as well.
I know I talked about the handhelds. We have wide-angle lenses. Captures a lot of the the full scope of things. Just like our cameras on our DVR system, those are all wide-angle as well. Sometimes I'll hook up my laptop. We used to have the ability to go live, which means we could stream all our cameras live on the internet. However, this is a new updated system, and unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to do that yet. But it's a work in progress. A lot of this equipment, some of it's expensive. A lot of it is, maybe over the top, maybe borderline unnecessary. But they're just helpful tools to allow us to capture the evidence that we want. Like I said during the interview, the best tool that you're going to use during an investigation is yourself. Also, all the cables, there's a reel there, there's a reel here. These are kind of hard to set up because they create trip hazards. And you're already walking alone in the middle of the night with looking through a small LCD screen and a flashlight maybe. So we really try to put these cables under rugs, around corners, up against walls, behind chairs. Anything we can do to get them out of the way.
We have the Ovulus here.
It's a nice
This,
toy.
it's a, exactly. When it works, it works. A lot of times, we have it on dictionary mode. That's typically what we use it. These are, what do you call those things? It's yelling at me now. The rods?
Oh yeah, they're prongs or...
Yeah, the rods, like those
Oh, dowsing rods.
dowsing rods. That's what those are. No. So we have it on dictionary mode. I know Veronica and I, we've had some success with this. A lot of times it likes to say foliage.
Foliage.
Yeah.
Foliage.
It says it all the time.
It's like
But we've actually gotten names and confirmed with owners that, yeah, those are, it was, the people in Ashtabula that we were talking about. Yeah, we confirmed a lot of stuff with them just through this alone. But when it doesn't work, you know it. And we just shut it off and set it down because it's okay.
If you want to follow me over here, these are all our cases that we pack all of our equipment in. There's two of them here. There's another one over there. These make things a lot easier to, maneuver around. If you're going up floors, down floors, all we have to do is just grab a side, pick it up, and start going. Rather than, you should have saw us before we had these.
Oh my God.
Wow.
When we'd look like the Michelin Man.
Oh yeah, got those super arms.
Yeah,
Oh,
like all these cables in our arms, and these are
Falling
kind of
apart,
Yeah.
tripping over
That's
on
part of
them.
our
Right.
system.
Yeah.
These are all from, we don't even use these really much anymore. That's why I use the thin black cables, and they're better quality. But yeah, this is basically our setup. Like John said earlier, it's very time consuming to set up all the equipment to actually conduct a real investigation.
You have to make sure that you have fresh batteries,
Right.
your everything is charged prior. That way, if our equipment starts dying on us, we know we have fresh batteries. We know that, why are you draining our batteries? Why are you doing this? You need energy, there's an EM pump. Take my energy. Do what you need to do, but don't take it from my equipment. So we kind of know. Another thing that we actually use are mag lights. We hold flashlight sessions with a mag light, just a typical screw mag light that you just, and we just kind of finagle it a little bit on the top. We shake it to make sure it doesn't come on. We set it down on the table, and we start asking yes or no questions. If it's yes, turn the light on. If it's no, leave the light off. And that's another thing that when it works, it's amazing. When they're able to do it, I held a 45-minute conversation with my grandfather, which he was answering questions, yes or no, that nobody else knew. And We actually did it once here too. We had a really good session here, but it was in there.
In there.
Yeah, it was in there.
Kids are.
Yeah, and it's actually really a good tool. You're doing an EVP session along with it, with headphones on, and we get a lot of evidence that way, actually.
Yep, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's very time consuming. If anybody is interested in starting up their own team, just be advised, it takes a lot of work. This is probably the best full-time job, and that's italicized, full-time, that you'll never get paid for.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So we all do this on our free times. We do this out of our own pockets. Every piece of equipment came out of our pockets. We're fully funded by ourselves. We have our own Lakeview Paranormal account that we all chip in money for.
Well, we do take donations.
We absolutely
we
take
take
donations.
donations.
We will take donations.
Yeah, we're a free service, so
Yeah.
we'll always take donations, and that goes to fuel costs, food, equipment.
Yeah. Nothing ever goes directly to pay. Everything goes to what you're seeing.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
But yeah, that's it.
And so we are actually going to do some investigating here. Well, they are. I'm not. I'm going to probably just sit in a corner someplace and hide. But we will be able to, if in fact anything comes to be, that will be available on your YouTube
Yes.
page. Which go ahead and give folks that information because
Okay.
there are some previous videos from
Sure,
here at
yep.
the library and other places that you've gone. So go ahead and give folks
So our
your
YouTube
information.
page, this is what we post all of our evidence on, and our, I don't know where she's, Liz over here, she actually is our video editor, so she puts together all the evidence footage reels that we have. But the YouTube page is youtube.com/Lakeview Paranormal. Our phone number is 440-296-9844 if anybody has any questions. Our email is lakeviewparanormal@gmail.com, and our website is www.lakeviewparanormal.com. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/lakeviewparanormal.lp.
And I'm going to get all of that for you in the comments because
That was a lot.
So before we go, I always like to ask, is there anything else that you want to tell folks, or one piece of wisdom, advice that if they walk away from this video, what's the one thing that you want them to know?
Aside from all the hard work and the setting up, the making sure the equipment is running properly, this is fun. It's so much fun, especially if you get activity. That was me. So really, every time you cough, you sneeze, you hit something, call it out, just so we can tag it, and
Right.
so we don't, count that as paranormal.
I don't think so because they aren't that close. Aren't that close. Aren't that close.
Not only did they ask if anyone was here, they could knock before you guys came in.
If that was you, could you do that again for me, please?
Try to touch it.
Could you go up to her again real quick? Thank you. You might remember us. We've actually been here a few times. We just stopped by to say hello again. Do you like it here at the library? We've always liked coming here. Well, that was nice. Could you make those lights go up any higher? Try really hard. Just walk right up to it. You're doing great. Is there anybody else here with you? Are you all alone? Do you also go across the street? Picking up your IR. You're good. Is this your favorite room to be in? If we walked out of this room, would you follow us? Okay, so you want to stay here.